Last year we prayed together for Pastor Saeed Abedini, detained in Iran since 2012. And I was recently in Boise, Idaho, and had the opportunity to meet with Pastor Abedini's beautiful wife and wonderful children, and to convey to them that our country has not forgotten Brother Saeed and that we're doing everything we can to bring him home. And
all right, ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you, finally, it took a long time, but encouraging words from the President of the United States with regard to Pastor Saeed Abedini, and we have had his, as the President said, his beautiful wife on this show many times. We welcome her back, Naghmeh Abedini, and it's so good to see you and talk to you. Talk about how the meeting with the President came about, and I know that your husband wrote a letter to the President from Iran thanking him for doing what he did. So talk about the genesis of it all.
Well, first I want to say thank you for having me back and your continued support. You know, it was a shock for me that I heard that President Obama was coming to Boise even the day after his State of the Union speech, and reached out to the White House and requested a meeting with him, and it happened. We had a meeting, the kids and I had a about 10-minute meeting with him. And I did see my son ask the President if he could help bring his daddy home for his birthday. And I could see, and that's what I'd been praying for, that his human side, his father's side coming out and thinking about all the birthdays Saeed has missed simply because of his faith as a Christian.
What was that like for you? If you could, you know, you say you saw that, you highlighted that to me of all things, and I got to admit that I could picture that in my mind, and I could start to tear up. I mean, what was your emotional reaction to hearing your son ask the President to bring his daddy home?
That was the highlight of the meeting for me. That was the emotional part of the meeting. You know, when the kids heard their meeting with the President of the United States for the first time in 2.5 years, I felt hope that maybe this is the time that daddy's going to come home. Maybe he can do something. And seeing that hope as a mom is very emotional. And I'm hoping that he is doing everything he can to bring Saeed home, and say Jacob wouldn't have to, go another birthday without his dad. And so it was very emotional to have a plea of my son just from the President of, can you please bring my daddy home?
Is it also encouraging that your husband was able to write a letter to the President?
It was. He heard through his father who visited him in prison. He was able to send a letter out, and, you know, he was encouraged. He was encouraged, as President Obama mentioned in the prayer breakfast, that he's not forgotten. And that's the number one thing that a prisoner struggles with, to know that that a lot of hopelessness, that maybe, you know, I'm forgotten, I'm going to spend the rest of my life in this prison. But for him to know that for the President to say, you're not forgotten, we're going to bring you home, really, in his meeting with us, and then of course at the prayer breakfast, really encouraged my husband.
Do you think that that if there is a deal with Iran, his release will be part of it, or it would be a precondition to a deal? I mean, do you have any feeling?
I'm hoping they're really careful with this nuclear deal. They're not sharing too much information. I know they have talked about Saeed on the sidelines. President Obama mentioned it to me when he visited, that John Kerry mentions Saeed and demands his release every time he meets with the Iranians. I do believe it's intertwined with this deal, and I do hope it's a precondition for any deal that we can get the Americans out. There's an ex-Marine, ex-FBI, there's a reporter, you know, they're holding a lot of, Americans hostage. They can release the Americans. That's the least Iran can do. And I also want to say that really all of this has come about because of all the prayer and support and people signing petitions and calling the government officials, has really what has brought all of this together for our President to finally act and start moving towards that direction.
And very briefly, the condition of your husband, you say his father saw him. We got like 30 seconds.
He's still suffering. He's in the worst prison. So, you know, we need to get him out quickly.
And your website, or where people could go to help?
BeHeardProject.com. There's a /Saeed, or I have Facebook, Twitter, Naghmeh Abedini.
Okay.
I provide.
And of course, the ACLJ helping you out, the American Center for Law and Justice.
Yes.
Hey, Naghmeh, good news, and we hope and pray for the best news. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care. All right, folks, when we come back, the president of Tate Publishing and Enterprise, Ryan Tate. Very much.